Do you know anybody who has one of those names that you're like, wow, if I had that name, I would change my name?
Ooh, good question. I have to start, by the way, of just giving a little caveat here. We had our case race last night. I am violently hungover.
Oh.
I worked a full day. My brain is not firing whatsoever. I'm turning 40 tomorrow.
Oh,
I
happy
should not
birthday.
be doing. Thank you. I should not be doing these things anymore and subjecting myself to this craziness. Whose name do I have?
Quick, while you think about that, for those who are unfamiliar with the case race, explain to everybody that you've done this and you explain it to us every year. But for those who aren't familiar, what is it exactly?
Yeah, I mean, so it started probably. So I have my YouTube show every day from 12 to 2 called The Yak. And it started maybe 4 years ago when one of the members of The Yak was turning 21. And we're like, all right, let's do a case race. I think a lot of people know, you probably did it in college. You either did Edward 40 hands or you did a case race where you just sit there and you drink as much beer as you can and it's miserable. It sounds like fun in theory. And then you start and you're like, why am I doing this? So we started doing it. This is case race 7, so we do it twice a year. It's much like childbirth. We do it, and then we never want to do it again, and we wait 6 months, and then we're like, yeah, this will be fun. And it's just people drinking as much as they possibly can on camera. Bad idea. And, I drank, I don't know, like 12 beers in 45 minutes last night.
How much puking?
And then so much puking. Yeah. It's a really dumb thing we do, but people love it because it's just I think it's one of those things you can't do often because watching people be blackout drunk on camera is fun when it's like once every now and then. If we did it all the time, it would lose its luster. But yeah, we did it, and it comes out on Friday, and it was a mess, and I feel awful right now. Absolutely awful.
Okay. Now back to the name.
Mr. Calling Claude Balls to the office, please. That's a good one, isn't it?
Claude Balls is a good one.
Yeah.
There was who was it? Was this Sam Darnold's grandfather? Is Dick Hammer?
Oh,
that's pretty good.
That's really good. Yeah.
That's a good one, though.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that is a good one. That's a strong name.
But if your surname is Dick, let's just start there, okay? And mom and dad decide to name you Harry, you got to leave. You got to leave home. There's no way you can spend 18 years living with those people.
Yeah, I mean it's a boy named Sue situation, right?
Yeah,
you get a little tougher. Yeah, you get a little tougher, and you have to explain your name all the time. But yeah, that's I can't think of any off the top of my head. It's probably gonna be something where tomorrow morning I'll text you guys and be like, oh yeah, I know this guy. But I don't know where we are right now. Where are we? Oh, Richard Hightower.
It's fine. All right, so have you done a well-being check or have you communicated with Josh Allen since the loss?
I have not. My rule is usually give it about a week. So I would say probably Monday or Sunday I'll text him just quickly saying I love him. I feel so bad for him. Yeah. He's so good, and it's just not fair that I don't know if you guys what your guys' takeaway from that game was. Mine, obviously, people are going to talk about the first down. That was just coaching malpractice, the fact that they kept on running that play that was not working, and Chris Jones was stuffing it, and Andy Reid, yet again, these high-level games in the championship Sunday, it really does come down to which coach is gonna have 2 or 3 wrinkles that change the game, and that's what the Chiefs did. They had the blitz at the end, and they had that run by Patrick Mahomes that Patrick Mahomes had not had a run, like an actual planned run all year. And they throw that at him where he scored the touchdown I think it was in the late third quarter. And that's the difference. Andy Reid always comes to these games with a couple wrinkles that the other team doesn't see. I think Rousseau even said it from the Bills. He's like, we watched all the tape. Yep. They never ran that play. They ran a guard going left, and everyone thought it was a run left, and then Patrick Mahomes kept it, went right. And, that's the difference between going to the Super Bowl and not. And I'm just so sad for Josh Allen.
Andy, it was a clinic, I thought, the play calling. Even going into the final drive where they needed to convert a first down because I believe it was Pacheco didn't get out of bounds. But to be able to run those boots and for him to execute properly and just everything about it is they're a well-oiled machine. They don't beat themselves. And, Josh Allen and his crew played really well, but they had their hands full on the road.
What about the
officiating?
officiating?
They always do against the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I mean, the officiating, look, I really do. I thought it was a first down, okay? But, again, I go back to the fact that you're running this play with Josh Allen that has been stuffed 3 times. We saw it. Remember when he had to do the Michael Jordan Space Jam jump? At midfield. Like, you don't do that at midfield. You do that at the goal line. They were so desperate to get those yards. So they knew that it wasn't working. Now you're going to run it on a 4th and 1. And guess what? When you run a quarterback sneak like that, you are leaving it up to the ref because the ball is completely covered and you don't have definitive proof one way or another. So you're on the road. You're leaving it up to a 50-50 call in a play that has not worked all game. I just think that's terrible coaching. I think that's so stupid. James Cook, every time he touched the ball, was electric. Did not touch the ball in that last drive. So I just think Sean McDermott just got outcoached yet again, and it stinks for the Bills, and it stinks mostly for Josh Allen because everyone's going to be like, he can't win the big one, when in reality, if you swapped Mahomes and Allen teams, Josh Allen's probably going to his 3rd Super Bowl in a row,
Yeah, and to that point, too, on 3rd down, and I said this on Monday, then John Boyd did a video on this. It was a terrible spot on 3rd down on the completion, and that's another one. I believe it was still with more than 2 minutes left. McDermott could have challenged that. So
there was 10 minutes left. That was 10 minutes left.
So
they could have challenged.
My brain's fried from all the football and all the different plays. So with all that said, and what you're talking about with McDermott, he's won a ton of games. Would you look to bring someone else in there to get Josh Allen and that rest of the team over the hump?
It's so brutal because you can't. There's like 2 ways of thinking about it. It's like, all right, you've reached your limit with McDermott. If you want to get to the final level, you got to get a change, and maybe it's the message isn't going through or whatever it is, or the coaching in these big games, decision making. But then you have to say, like, hey, look, they're in it every single year, so he might be doing something right. But are they in it just because Josh Allen's that good? Could anyone could you coach the Bills, Silvy? Could I coach the Bills and win 10 games because Josh Allen's that good? I think you got to go one more year, and then if you get back to the same spot, then it's time. But it's a brutal decision because I just don't know, how do you fire a guy after he's this close every single time? And it's the Chiefs. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Is the Chiefs are such a great team that they just keep robbing people of joy, and they rob the city of Buffalo of joy. They rob the city of Baltimore of joy. Like, that's just what they do.
Are you sick of them?
I'm not sick of them. I'm in a weird spot. Well, I have a future on the Eagles, so I'm rooting for the Eagles. There is part of me that's like, we may never see this again. We haven't seen it ever. And screw the Packers tweeting about how they've won 3 in a row when it was like a bunch of guys playing who had like plumbing jobs in the offseason. I don't know why the Packers try to make this about themselves. They're like, oh, we won 3 in a row in 1941. Cool, dude. The Super Bowl era.
There were like 12 teams in the league. I checked because we talked about this yesterday. In 63, there were 14 teams in the league.
Yeah, and you drafted whoever went to college around you, and they all were plumbers in the offseason. Like, that's not a real. Like, this is so stupid, Packers.
Profession.
It's when the Bears won all their titles too.
Yes, that's true.
No, it's no shot. It's no shot at plumbers. I'm just saying, like, it's a very different league. But the Chiefs, like, greatness, I do think there's part of me that's like, man, I should sit back and be like, you probably will never see this again. But then I have the Eagles' future. I will say this: I'm not like a Chiefs hater. Last year I bet the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It was a wonderful experience knowing that you had Patrick Mahomes in your pocket and not Brock Purdy. So I would say that if you are looking for something to do this Super Bowl Sunday, just bet Patrick Mahomes and just chill out because they'll probably win and they'll probably have the ball with 4 minutes left and they'll win the game. So Just do it that way.
Is that Patrick Mahomes in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me, Big Cat?
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun. I don't know if you guys have bet the Chiefs in a big game. It's a fun experience.
By the way, is PFT okay?
Yeah, he's okay. I think that the way that the Commanders lost makes it a little like the Bills' loss was 10 times worse than the Chiefs' loss, or than the Commanders' loss, because the Commanders just got killed. So I think there's part of him that's like, we were way overachieving, and then we finally hit a team that's really, really good, and we were never going to win that game if they played it 100 times. So I know the fumbles were bad, but they just got killed. I mean, 7 rushing touchdowns is insane.
By the way, it was a pleasant experience for us, to say the least, to have PFT in studio with us on our show for the first time ever. We've met him once before, but what a great guy he is.
He's the best. He's the best. I mean, he's one of my best friends, and he loves you guys. So when I told him that you guys had requested him, he was like, absolutely. He was good though. I didn't get a chance to listen. I don't even know what I was doing.
Great.
Oh, I got kindergarten basketball practice at 5 p.m. on Friday.
Oh,
What's with that?
Are you coaching?
That's too late.
Are you coaching?
No, I think I'm a little too hot-headed to coach.
Do they play? How high are they 8-foot rims for kids at kindergarten?
Probably lower.
I think they're 8 or 7. I don't know. My kid can't get to the rim, so.
Well, I'm not asking if they're dunking. I just didn't. I thought it'd be silly to watch.
You can't shoot the ball. You can't get it up to the rim. So I don't know what it is, but yeah, we got killed again on Saturday. I was telling our coach, let's maybe mix it up with the zone. He looked at me like I had 17 heads. So I don't know.
What are kindergarten kids actually doing on a basketball court? They're probably not even paying attention, are they?
Yeah, they're just running around. They wear they put on color wristbands, and that's each team has one color, and your kid has to guard the other color on the other team. So they make it pretty simple, but it's still atrocious. It's awful basketball.
How long does it last?
They're running 6-minute quarters.
Oh, running clock, I hope?
Yeah, you bet.
No, the clock was stopped.
Oh,
it was
that's
crazy.
dumb. You got to keep a clock moving.
Yeah.
I know. So, yeah, that's what I was doing. That's why I missed PFT. I was sitting at practice at 5 p.m.
He told us the story, and I wasn't sure if I knew in detail on how you guys formed the show and how you guys met. And at first, you guys thought each other was ripping off each other's jokes.
Yes. It was like 2015. He was in Chicago for a wedding, and I was like, let's get a beer together. And we were talking about takes. I don't know if he said this, but we were talking about takes that we were tossing around, and we both were like, I think we're going to maybe start saying Cal Ripken did steroids. And we're like, all right, this is a marriage that will work between the two of us. So, he's the best. I mean, I don't want to say he's the best thing to happen in my life in case my wife is listening to this. But
your wife isn't listening to this. There is zero chance that she's listening to this.
She has ears everywhere. She has other people who listen to this, and then they report back, and then I get it, and then I'm like, oh no.
How much of what you do does your wife actually listen to or watch?
Not a ton. Yeah. Not a ton. It's better that way. Yes. She gets some of the information. Did PFT tell you the story of the first time we hung out at Super Bowl week? And he was working for SB Nation, and I was, Barstool's always been criticized by other competitors and whatnot. So I was like, oh, he might be like a spy or something. And I forced him to do so many drugs that he could not squeal on us ever.
He did not say that. No, he did not. He did not tell us that. What kind of drugs were you feeding him?
Let's just say I had my fingers up his nose.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Listen, I knew from that point on. Hank, our producer, who I've known forever, was with us. I knew from that. Hank looked at me, and I looked at Hank, and I was like, I think we can trust this guy. And then the rest is history.
Yeah, your foundation of your relationship's booger sugar.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, listen, we've been going for 9 years, so something's right.
Yeah. Have you guys graduated to something different at this stage?
I think we're a little more mature.
Okay.
Not saying that we're so mature that we don't fall back on our ways every now and then, but we're pretty mature. I mean, I don't really even drink anymore, except for case races when I black out.
Say, well, maybe you need to drink a little bit leading up to the case race to build a little tolerance.
Yeah, I don't care enough about how I perform in the case race to then be like, oh, I need to start drinking every day. I mean, little kids, I can't. Being hungover with little kids is Guantanamo.
It's not good.
That's it's the worst. So I don't even go down that road.
Do you think you'll get back on the sauce when they're in college?
Probably not. Listen. I've said this before, but I'm already not the healthiest guy, and if you ask me if I started drinking, then I'd probably have to give up ice cream, and I'll take ice cream over drinking every single day.
Wow, that's a big one. Waddle is the exact opposite of you.
Keep your ice cream.
He's already given up ice cream. I don't think he's ever been into it.
Can you create a Scotch flavored ice cream?
Listen,
to each their own. To each their own.
I can't do spoilers, but I got a story for you guys next week that will come out on Friday during the case race, and I might never eat ice cream again after what happened last night.
Okay, I can't wait. Are you a Brett Bielema fan, or did you guys have a divorce after he left Wisconsin?
We had a divorce, but we're back together.
Did you see though what he was tweeting about Jim Harbaugh?
He was tweeting about Jim Harbaugh. I like that. I always like any type of spiciness in coaches. I love that Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh are just destined to be in the same division everywhere they go. Like the fact that they were or USC and Stanford, and then 49ers and Seahawks. Now they're in the AFC West together. But Brett and I had our differences because his wife, who would tweet karma after they left Wisconsin to Arkansas. She just tweeted karma, basically bashing the Badgers. And then I think his first year in Arkansas, they didn't win an SEC game, and every time they lost, I tweeted at her karma, and then she blocked me. But we're back. We text every now and then. I like Brett. I think he's an incredible football coach, and I consider him a friend. I've had beers with him since then, so we're good.
Because someone tweeted an old video of Jim Harbaugh saying, if you cheat to win, then you've already lost, Jim Harbaugh. And then Brett Bielema.
What's the lie there?
And Brett Bielema retweeted it and wrote, really? Why did you leave? Was looking forward to playing, but understand why you ran to the NFL. See you in the future and can't wait. Hashtag family with the ILL and hashtag ILL.
I like it. A little off-season coaching fight. I don't think the only problem for Bielema in this, I don't think he's ever beaten Harbaugh.
That's tough to lean into then.
Yeah, if you've never beaten him on the field, it's tough to be like, I was looking forward to losing again against you.
Maybe this is in good fun, or do you think that this is like he's going at him hard?
I think it's in good fun from Bielema. I don't think anything's in good fun with Harbaugh.
Yeah, I mean, Jim will take anything serious. But, I mean, like, if Bielema really wanted to give him hell, why don't you just call him or send him a text directly?
True. And I do think they were – I don't know if Brett was part of the – because remember when the Stallions thing happened, there was like a coaches meeting or Zoom, and a bunch of the coaches were getting really upset and complaining. I don't know if he was part of that group or not. But I like all this, and I like both these guys. So I'm going to say, have a little rivalry, have a little fun off season.
Listen, Bielema can flat out coach. So
yes, he does. He coaches like he just was built for the Big Ten. He just run the ball, defend the run. Like I love how he coaches.
Have you ever met any of the Bears' new coaches, whether it's Antoine Randall, whether it's Dennis Allen, the former New Orleans Saints head coach, or whether it's Declan Doyle, who started coaching for Iowa when his dad was the strength coach?
Yep. Which, let's just say, where I want to give Declan Doyle a fair shot. Anyone who's taken shots at him because of his father is a loser. But I don't know if you guys follow what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Okay, all right.
You're talking about the controversy.
So, yeah. Like, I mean, why can't he get it? Like, why does his father's whatever happened with his father shouldn't follow him around?
Amen.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Amen.
You shouldn't be criticized for what your family does. when you have nothing to do with it. I have not met any of them. We are going to see Ben Johnson in Indy, so we're going to get him on PMT, which will be great. So I'm excited for that. And I have said a lot of bad things about Dennis Allen as a head coach. Not as a defensive coordinator, as a head coach. I've said a lot of bad things about him.
How much are you going to miss football this weekend? You're not going to be one of those fools that watches the Pro Bowl activities, are you?
The Pro Bowl games.
Yeah.
You know me. I think I had 14 college basketball plays last night.
Listen,
fine.
but you've been able to do both. Now you've only got one vehicle.
I don't know if you guys agree with this, but like I obviously love football. It's my favorite sport to watch, gamble on, talk about, all that stuff. When we get to this point of the calendar year, I'm good to take a little break. Like I don't start. I could use a couple months off with football because it's just such a grind, and it's like. I'm ready to watch something else. Then sometime around like early May, I'm like, oh man, I wish football season was here. But I'm good after this.
Okay. Speaking of college basketball, I don't know if you're aware of this, but I happen to be friends with the head coach of Duke. And I'm wearing my Duke hoodie today. And I broke the news to him that our new head coach, and John Shire obviously is a diehard Bears fan. I broke the news to him that Ben Johnson is a UNC guy, and it sort of ruined his evening once he found out that Ben Johnson was a UNC guy.
Oh, I like that. Good. I hope it ruined his evening. They're playing no one. The ACC stinks. They stink, and I can't wait for Duke to just be so overhyped. Cooper Flagg is the real deal, by the way. I hope Adam Silver does something for us. Maybe if we can get into the lottery and get us Cooper Flagg. He's the real deal. But they beat no one. ACC is trash. So you're going to get all excited, and your kids are going to end up crying because Duke's going to lose in the Sweet 16, and you shouldn't do this to them.
And I know. My oldest cries now over many of the results that happened. He was crying over the Kansas City Chiefs. He was all things Bills. He loves Josh Allen.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. I just, oh, man, I feel so bad for Bills fans. It's so brutal.
Did you see the Duke player puke all over the floor?
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And then a student, passed out. I don't know what they're doing in Cameron.
Yeah.
You got to get it together.
I don't know why, I hope the guy's okay, but I don't know why I was so, mesmerized by it. It wasn't like just a little spit up. That was a full.
No, it was a puke.
That was a full puke.
I think it's because it's on a basketball court. Like when it's on a field, it's like, oh, who cares? Next play. But basketball court, that's an extensive cleanup.
If an official had run by and slipped in his puke, that would have been highlight of the year.
There was nothing worse than being in school or elementary school and seeing someone in the middle of that hallway, that concrete hallway or whatever that tile was, and it splatter all over, and then they bring in that gross stuff that they cover up the puke with.
Yeah.
They wouldn't clean it away.
Yeah, it's like the pink stuff. It was
I'm having so much fun having this conversation after I told you guys I was violently hungover.
Hey,
this is awesome.
How about a cigar right now?
Oh my God.
Maybe a warm glass of mayonnaise to wash down the cigar smoke?
Stop it. Here's the last question, a hypothetical out there that you could take with you.
Are you wrapping this up? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, because you guys keep talking about puking. I'm going to go puke.
You want to segue to diarrhea? You want to go there?
How many Super Bowls?
Have you pooped yourself today?
How many Super Bowls would Josh Allen be in if he was in the NFC?
As many as Jalen Hurts, for sure. He would at least have gone to 2.
Which Jalen Hurts has already gone to more Super Bowls than Aaron Rodgers. That's a fun fact.
That's good. I have
fun fact.
I have a bet with Thayer where he bet us and he bet me, and then Danny Zetterman wanted to bet me on this, where they believe Josh Allen will never win a Super Bowl. And I bet dinner anywhere, and I said, also, you could bring, whether it's Joniak or you want to bring someone else. This is for dinner for 4, and the loser has to pay for all 4. I believe Josh Allen will indeed win a Super Bowl, and Thayer says no.
All right, I'm with you. So I'm in on this bet. I'm with you on your side.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm with you on your. I'm going to the dinner with you. We'll go to the dinner, and I'm with you on your side. Josh Allen's going to win a Super Bowl.
Make him fund it if, in fact, you do lose.
I don't think we'll have to fund it. I'm confident that it won't need his help, you know?
Yeah, no, we're not. He's going to win a Super Bowl. Like, I really do believe that. Who will be the
head coach of the Bills when they win a Super Bowl?
That I can't answer, but he's going to win a Super Bowl. He's so good. He's so good, and it's just going to – it will happen. It will happen.
By the way, did you guys know that this year, before the AFC Championship game, Josh Allen had attempted 21 quarterback sneaks? Do you know how many he converted?
Before the championship game.
Before the championship
I bet you 20 or 21.
20 of 21.
Yeah.
20 of 21. He was 2 of 5 in the championship game.
2 of 5. After the first one, you get stuffed. Maybe do something different. After the second one, you got to do something different. Then the third one happens. Like, they do a really good job using him and like read options too. Yeah. Now, with most quarterbacks who are 6'6" and 250, you'd say just get under center and sneak it. But once they've shown you that they've adjusted to it, just run the read option with him. They did that. And that's how good Chris Jones is. Like, I know that Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback and he gets all the – I mean, Chris Jones, what he has done for that dynasty that they've got going, it's insane. He is such an insane football player, and he makes everything go for them on defense.
And by the way, adjust, okay? Because they obviously were playing for you to, when you get the ball, go left. Maybe the next time you try it after they've stopped you, take the ball and go right.
And maybe do an actual push like the Eagles do. Yeah. They didn't do the push part of it.
They don't execute it,
it actually shows just how, like, insane it is. Like, I know that people get frustrated with the tush push, and they're like, they should outlaw it, and the Eagles are cheating, all that stuff. No one else does it like them. No one else has been able to figure it out like them.
And they did it with a beat-up offensive line. The Eagles, I mean, like, they didn't have their starters.
Poor Cam Jurgens had a back injury, didn't play the first half, and then Frankie Louvu is doing suplexes on him for 5 plays in a row.
Really quick, before we let you go, what do you think of the new Cubs seats? Have you seen these? They're called the Yard. It's right. It's in there, like where the batter's eye is, and it's for as many as 50 people. You can have a group as little as 4 to 6. It's like a super suite. So you're mixing in with other people out there, and I believe the tickets start at like $180 per ticket, and it includes your food and beverage, and it will go much higher, I'm sure, for like night and weekend games, and depending on the opponent. So you like them?
I like them. It's cool. I mean, why not use it? I mean, they're not going to use it then to pay for Kyle Tucker, but I guess we can go sit in the Yard. Is that what it's called? The Yard?
That's what they're calling it, the Yard. I think it looks cool.
Yeah, I'll go sit in the Yard. Yeah, I do too. I think it looks cool too. I mean, I think this is also, if anyone's upset about it, it's kind of one of those things like, you never want to tear down Wrigley. You're going to have to do stuff like this. You know what I mean? Like when the video board went up in whatever it was, 2015, and it looked different. Like that's just, you can't have it both ways. You can't be like, hey, we want Wrigley to stay Wrigley. Wrigley can stay Wrigley, but you got to make these kind of changes.
You got to evolve. Yep. All right, Big Cat. Great stuff. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'll be sharper. I'll text you that name when I think of it tonight.
Have a great rest of your day, Harry Johnson.